Hello, viewers. This is Dr. Qamar Cheema, and I have honor today to have Miss Anila Ali. She heads the non-government organization American Muslim Multi-Faith Women Empowerment Council. She works for gender empowerment and for the religious freedom, and she's working for empowering women in the United States. And she's based in Washington D.C. And most recently, she was in the headlines globally when she had a delegation that went to Israel and met the Israeli president and the authorities. So I asked and I requested Ms. Anila Ali so that we can have a conversation with her to understand that, first of all, what was the purpose of your visit to Israel, Ms. Anila? Can you please explain to our viewers?
Thank you so much for having me. It's wonderful that you're asking me that question, and we're doing it after the all the uproar is over. Um, I would say when we started, planning out our trip to Israel, it was more, we've been doing a lot of interfaith. We work on Islamophobia. We work on anti-Semitism. As Muslim women leaders in America, we feel that we have a unique position to empower other women, to empower Muslims, and to speak about the hate that we have been experiencing since 9/11. And when we as Pakistani Muslim women go out there, we are able to change hearts and minds. And with that, we wanted to go and see what Israel is all about. Do the Israelis really want peace? How do they feel about us? In America, my organization has very close ties with the Jewish community. We have worked on Syrian refugees. We've been working on Afghan women refugees. We've been helping Afghan women get jobs together. We've been helping fight Islamophobia since 9/11 together. Why? Because faith communities in America stand together. We believe that if one is attacked, it's an attack on all of us. And in that mindset, I got a group of people together. And in the past one and a half years, I've been holding roundtables in Pakistan for religious freedom. And I found there to be a real conversation happening. I found Pakistanis had a serious desire to get to know what is religious freedom. And for them to understand, we always talk about like Muslims should fight Islamophobia, others should help fight Islamophobia. But the onus of that, the responsibility lies on us. So we as women and as a women's civil rights organization, we've been taking that burden on, going to Pakistani minority communities, talking to them about their issues, and then reminding our communities, the Pakistani communities everywhere, that the reason that we enjoy this freedom is precisely the reason why Pakistanis and other Muslim nations should give their minorities religious freedom, equality, and respect. Today I can just wear a hijab, I can pray anywhere I want, I can build a mosque anywhere I want to. And I want minorities to be able to do that. So, and as an organization, we decided, let's go check out Israel and take Muslims. And we had Bangladeshis, we had Sikhs, we had Indian Sikhs, and we had American Sikhs, and then we had Catholics, we had Greek Orthodox people with us, and then majority of us were Sunnis, Muslims. And so, we wanted to go and just experience it. And it was not orchestrated. In fact, Cheema Saab, we didn't even know that we're going to be meeting with the president. We arrive in Israel. We had some inclination that, authorities might meet us. We knew that we were going to go and visit the Knesset and see how this democracy is thriving in the Middle East, which is surrounded by, monarchies. And as an American, our greatest ally is Israel. So I wanted to see what is happening, and I wanted to take the group of people with me to also experience that firsthand. Um, and then we get there on Sunday, and we're about to go to Jerusalem, and we're told the president's office called, And the president is very interested in meeting with this delegation because obviously there has been no other kind of, NGO, very open delegation. I can tell you that now I'm privy to the information that Pakistani physicians group visited Israel. But of course, we went as an NGO, and we went to build peace. So we didn't do it behind closed doors. We were open about it. And most of us were Americans, Pakistanis, Indians, and majority Pakistani Americans, and so for us it was really. And then we were told we're just going to be meeting him, maybe a picture, maybe not a picture. And the fact that we were greeted so warmly, we were greeted with so much respect, and the president actually took time to find out, tell us about Pakistan. We want to know more about this country. I think it's a great honor for Pakistani Americans to have experienced that. Um, Not only did he spend time talking to us, he spoke to everybody. He spoke to the Malaysian American that we had. He spoke to the Sikhs. He wanted to know what is Sikhism. So, the news that got out, I think it was just politicized. And that did injustice to the to the mission of our trip, which was to build peace, to build ties. One of my delegates, he's Pakistani American, very established. He's been in America for 40 years and he's got the American dream. And he went there and he said, I really wanted to test the Israelis. And he found, like he says, there were kids that pulled up and just tugged at his shirt and said, where do you come from? Where are you here from? There was a general curiosity and a desire to welcome somebody who doesn't look like you. And the children came up to us, asked us, where are you from? And when we said, first we said America, then we said Pakistan. And they were like, Pakistan, welcome. I think that is what caused the transformation of the group. Whether they said they're from India or they're Sikhs, because they have, my brother, my friend, my brother, Simran Singh, he was with us. He's with the International Religious Freedom Secretariat. And he said, I'm a Sikh. I mean, those were the bridge building moments. There's a picture of me and Simran. We come out of this Arab Muslim village in Israel. The azan is blaring in the background. And we come out and we see these young kids, the Israeli Muslim Arabs. And the whole group is just stunned. They ask their names, they're all Muslim names. And so, that's like a myth buster. Not everybody in Israel is Jewish. And so, Simran and I stand in front of that mosque and I say, I'm Muslim, you're a Sikh. And here's a mosque behind us that is, in Israel. All of these were challenging the stereotypes that we hear about Israel. Our trip, Cheema Saab, was devoid of politics. It was supposed to be about that human to human connection.
Well, Anil Ali, you have just explained the work you have been doing and that your experience of visiting Israel and how the people in Israel just welcome you. But there was a one thing which basically puts you on highlight, and you were highlighted across the Muslim world, I would say, and in particularly in Pakistan, in America, and maybe in Israel as well. When there were some rumors here that, listen, the Pakistani authorities are going to recognize Israel, so these Pakistanis are there, or this new government and Prime Minister Imran Khan, former Prime Minister Imran Khan, his government was criticizing the government for that matter. So why do you think that there was a hue and cry in Pakistan, while this was purely a visit of your NGO with the Indians, with Pakistanis, and people with the different regions who are the U.S. nationals? So why do you think that your visit to Israel was so much taken in a bad way, or the people tried to give a bad press to the visit, which was basically for interfaith dialogue?
I mean, that's a really good question. I would like to ask the people who politicized the trip that, here I am, we're an NGO, we've been doing this for 15 years. In fact, we've been doing this interfaith work for since 9/11. As Pakistani Americans, of course, we travel to Pakistan, and we just don't meet Jews in Israel or Jews in America. We meet the Christians in Pakistan. You know, there's Christian persecution globally. Nigeria is right now the center of it. Um, we talk about these issues. There's, two Sikhs were also killed in Pakistan, Cheema Saab, while we were in Israel. Why didn't the government talk about that? I'll tell you that when we had the Earth Roundtable in Peshawar in February, which is when the Shia mosque was attacked and so many people died, and I went there with my program director, Eleni. We met with the faith communities there. And, I came back with a new commitment to work harder for the minorities in Pakistan. Because, I mean, we can take Anila Ali's picture with, I'm presenting my father's book to the president and say, why did she do that? How dare she do that? Well, I was born in Pakistan. It is my family who left everything that they owned in India because they were minorities and they wanted to have a country where minorities and women were respected, included. That's how I was brought up. And for me, when I hear what's happening to minorities today in Pakistan, it hurts my inner core. My human side of me tells me, Anila, you got to go back. The reason I speak English today is because I went to a convent school in Pakistan. My educators were nuns. And it is my human responsibility. It's my Pakistani responsibility. It's my American responsibility. It's my Muslim responsibility to do something about it. That's what my father had said when I moved here. And, the fact that my picture was politicized and said, who is she? Why is she presenting it? That's why I'm presenting it, because I want to remind my fellow Pakistanis that Pakistan was also formed on the basis that minorities were not given equal rights in India. Why are we forgetting it? And all of a sudden, all the things that Qaeda-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah said about, Israel, about Palestine and Israel at the time in 1947 and 1948, those are being quoted by the political party that was ousted constitutionally by the Pakistanis. We had nothing to do with it. So why are you politicizing us? Also, I think there needs to be a recognition of the work that Pakistani Americans do in the United States. We cannot forget that United States has been Pakistan's friend since 1947. I remember my father, who was a founding father, he used to come back from these trips to America. He was invited there to take groups of lawmakers in Pakistan, to take young lawyers so that they can learn from the Americans on how to write the Constitution, how to run the institutions. You and I know the picture of President Mrs. Jackie Kennedy and how she's hugging the Pakistanis. When she arrived, she loved Pakistan. Well, those are the images of friendship that I think Pakistanis need to recall. And instead of politicizing a relationship that Pakistan needs right now, you can't isolate Pakistan. Internationally, Pakistan has been isolated. And I think that whichever government comes, and for me, it doesn't matter. I don't vote in Pakistan, but it does matter to me when minorities are not treated. Because, yes, I can tell you, I invest in Pakistan. I have adopted schools. I have worked hard here in Capitol Hill since I became a US citizen, talking about Pakistan US relations, building them, bridging the divides. And so I take that personally. I'm really resentful that our trip and my own persona was politicized. I have to meet everybody who's in government. I have met all the governments in the past 6-7 years. Why? Because I advocate for women. I work with USAID, always telling them this is what we need in Pakistan. This is what we need here. We need better relations. Pakistan and US have trade ties. The remittance Pakistan gets, the aid Pakistan gets. Pakistan can play a bigger role in South Asia. It is a nuclear power. If the Muslims, actually unite and Pakistan can take leadership, but we need responsible leaders. We don't need leaders who take a women's organization, who take a woman who's an American Pakistani, and then politicize her and her trip and her work. I spoke to many Pakistani Americans who are very, who were supporters of former Prime Minister Imran Khan Saab, and they expressed a lot of disdain for what he did. They also said that all their lives they've been working to bring US Pakistan together as ambassadors of Pakistan. And they're very, very sad today that this happened. Now we have to start from scratch and rebuild our relations. The good thing is, America has recognized that Pakistan is an ally. Yeah, we have problems, but then we have problems within our government as well. Look at the Democrats and the Republicans. So there is no relationship where you're going to have a perfect relationship or devoid of any issues. So I think if we remember that, and we try to, like you're giving me a platform to actually tell the truth. And I have no hesitation in talking about the truth. And I think politicians should also start telling the truth and not use misinformation to misguide people. The response I get, I get a lot of messages from PTI supporters as well. And they say, we like what you do. And I have had, first it was condemnation, then it was an outpouring of Pakistanis, especially young people, who have sent me messages of support. They understand what I'm doing, they understand why I'm doing it. And I'm so honored that they have given me this trust to do it.
Hmm. Well, Anila, my last question to you is that keeping in mind the Abraham Accord, how do you see the future of interfaith harmony among Muslims, Christians, and the Jews and the other religions as well? How do you see that?
The Abraham Accords, I think they are a very sacred accord, Cheema Saab, and they have really not been marketed well. When I heard about it and I joined the Mukhairif Institute to promote that, I joined Sharaka to promote that. I looked at it and I said, what do I do 5 times in my prayers? I send blessings to the people of Ibrahim and to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam through Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. What am I doing? I'm sending a blessing and saying we're one human race, we are one children of Ibrahim, and yet we see the divisions between the three religions. When you go to Jerusalem and you are standing in the room where Prophet Jesus alayhi salam was it's the Last Supper. It was the room that he ate his last meal in. And you have Christians, Muslims, Jews with you, and Sikhs. You look around and it gives you this feeling of this is the place that should unite us. You go to Masjid al-Aqsa and you go to, the Jews call it the Temple Mount, the Muslims call it Dome of the Rock. And you go there and you think the Jews believe that Hazrat Ibrahim, sacrificed his son here. The Jewish people also believe the world began there. Hazrat Adam was created there. The Christians, it's so sacred to them. They have the Church of Holy Sepulchre where Jesus' body was brought. And then we believe Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam ascended the heavens and he met all of these great prophets on the way. The last prophet to greet him is Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. And today we're standing in front of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam's grave. And what are we telling him? That we are divided in the place that is meant to unite us? And that's what I want to leave you with. That, that's a place that was meant to unite us. The Kaaba, our Qibla, was moved in 16 months. Why do you think it was moved? Think about it. I want every Muslim to think about it. Why did Hazrat Umar say, I'm not going to pray in the church? Church is sacred. Why? Think about it. And I leave you with that thought. I want everyone to think about, why is it important to take the Abraham Accords seriously, take them like it is something that Allah has commanded us to be together, to live together, and to solve the issue so that Palestinians benefit. Until people die, nobody benefits.
Yeah. Yes, Anila, you have given a good message that we have to understand this message of the interfaith harmony that came from obviously the leadership or of the Muslims, Jews, and Christians, and we have to see that how this interfaith dialogue needs a promotion at this moment. And obviously, your visit was definitely from the U.S. As you are a U.S. citizen, obviously you were a Pakistani born, but this must be looked from a lens where it's about interfaith harmony and dialogue, and it has nothing to do with any conspiracy theory, and it should not have been politicized. Thank you very much, Anila Ali, for your time and for helping us to understand that why you and your delegation visited Israel, and how do you see the future of Abraham Accord and the interfaith dialogue while sitting in Washington, D.C. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cheema, sir, for giving me a voice.
Thank you.